Righty here. And yeah, I'm doing my top 10s. I'm going to be doing top webtoons, top games, and top animations that I see in 2024. But also, I want to do something that I kind of created. I don't know anyone else is doing this, but top retro games that I have played in the year of 2024. But these were games that were released all over. Like, games that were released like all the way back before, like, the 80s or something, or after days, or after the 90s or something. The different timelines of these games. These are games that I wanted to discover, games that I didn't play when I grew up, and pretty much here I am, witnessing them again. I'm basically, some of these games I'm playing them for, like, the hundredth time, if they're like anywhere like in GTA or Ratchet and Clank level. But also some that I played for the first time that I never actually discovered when I was growing up. So yeah, we're about to discover those games. These are pretty much all amounts of any kind of with any emulation that I have stored, and I have a lot. I think almost all the systems that I discovered these games through. So this is just my way of just, giving back to, especially like hidden gems, even though that some of these games are not really hidden gems, but there's still, like, games that probably, that if you're watching this, if you're young, you have no idea what these games are about. So here I am basically just giving you it, and I'm going to be basically just, on the top of the dome of just, I have my notes, but I don't really have notes of like what makes this game unique. This is all coming from the heart. This is just like a, like a conversation, like, oh, what retro games have you played? I don't know who would ever ask that. Usually it'd be like, oh, best game of 2024. What could it be? Especially if it's a top 10 list. But for this one, if someone were to ask that, well, this is the video. So let's get into it. Top retro games of 2024 that I played. My top 10, okay? Not anyone else's. It's not like the top 10 of all time, or maybe it is to some people. And I mean some people. Starting off with number 10. And I guess the number 10 spot, and here's the thing. Usually this was something that I had, especially last year when I was doing the top 10 games of 2023. I added top retro games in that. But then I decided, you know what, we're going to cut all these to quarters to, just have some separate, stuff. And pretty much I was separated from this one. So this gets its own segment because there's so many retro games that I never experienced that I played and I was hooked. And pretty much for the number 10 spot was Custom Robo. I played this. I think there was a time, especially of 2023 or 2024, where I had like a, just a time of, like, there was a phase of me like, oh man, I'm gonna play all the N64 games. I didn't, and there's some that I really do still want to experience, but some of those that I never really understand, and I try to understand it. And the thing is that what got me to play Custom Robo, especially of last year, was me looking and hearing about the whole Custom Robo with the GameCube, and that was going to be the one. But as a, a binge gamer like me, I wanted to play games from the start. I don't care how bad they are. I don't care how good they are. Let me start from the top. That's the same thing that I did with, Ratchet and Clank, what I did with Metal Gear. I never actually had a Metal Gear game. So I pretty much started from the top, even though that wasn't the top. That, I think the first one was like during the Commodore days or something. But I just decided, you know what, let me just go play the PS1, I guess. And here I am with Custom Robo, with the Custom Robo franchise, and starting off with the top. And I gotta say, this was such a good intro to the Custom Robo universe. It's basically Pokemon with robots. You go around. It's like somewhat of like an RPG, but you basically settle everything in life, especially as a kid playing with Custom Robos with others. You play with adults, you play with this. You also go into like some weird black market where they have like, illegal weapons of custom robots, which is pretty cool. And you go discover like different tournaments and stuff like that. Become the best, I would say. It's literally Pokemon, but with robots. So And this game really does it justice with the polygon, with the battle arenas that you go into. I had fun really going at it with different robots and different mechanics of the game that it has, especially being that old of a game because this is the N64 days. This game really hits it in all cylinders of just how good that a game like this, Custom Robo, it just felt timeless with what it has, especially for somebody that really wanted to have a good mecha game. I want a good mecha game. I really tried my best with some of the stuff with older Armored Core games. I tried with the PSP and that one didn't do justice. I didn't like that one because I wouldn't know like what's a good mecha game, like what's a good Gundam game, what's a good Armored Core game. But I guess one of the best ones was Custom Robo. One of the best ones that I ever witnessed. I pretty much am planning to play other mecha games, but as of so far, Custom Robo really takes that spot. Number 9 goes to Gears of War. I've been wanting an Xbox 360 game for the longest time to be included in whatever list I put, in whatever review. And man, these games are not easy, especially Gears of War. Now, why did I put it here? I know that many people that are big fans or that grew up with the Xbox 360, and especially as someone that never had an Xbox 360, I wanted to witness when it's best games, when it's best exclusives. So one of those were like Halo. You got Fable here and there. You got like a couple other games, Viva la Pinata. Viva la Empanada. Yeah, that's what it's called. Man, my Latin's so bad. But Gears of War, man. Now this one, listen. I never ever grew up with an Xbox 360, so I freaking wouldn't know. Like, oh man, what's the best? I know what's the best PS3 game, but I don't know what's the best Xbox game. Even with that first Xbox, when I had like Halo in one of my best time games last year of best retro games that I played. For Xbox 360, I really didn't have that. I really just decided like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna choose whatever that I'm feeling. And pretty much one of those were basically one of the first, but also not one of the best Gears of War. But then again, how would I freaking know? How would I know? I don't know. Like, is it the best or not? Here I am playing it because I along with that I played Dead Space, which I need to get back to. I only start from the beginning, so I wanted to put that in the list, but I just haven't. I haven't even took time to play it at all. I was busy with so many other games, and also with Modern Warfare. Of course, I don't really put Call of Duty any of my favorites here. Call of Duty is a good, series, especially the older ones. But a lot of times, when I play Gears of War, it just seems like it's a perfect mix of just like, one of those shooters, those third-person shooters, where I kind of am just like, as I'm discovering it, I'm like, oh my goodness, because I heard parts and different aspects of what Gears of War is. But I never understand, like, okay, what's the big deal of it, But here I am, witnessing it right now, and I enjoyed it. I enjoy, like, the different missions, and it's not an easy game. It's not for, like, it is definitely for the faint of heart of just, like, hardcore shooters or anyone in that, community. But once I start playing it, I was like, no way. I really, truly felt like I own an Xbox 360, even though I never had one. Like, I'm gaining this experience that I never thought I would had. And it's true, one of their exclusive, one of their platinum hits. And this one is such a good introduction to the Gears of War franchise. And also discovering each characters, like who Baron is, who's the main character, and what's going on during the Judgment Day. Especially killing all these aliens and just, it seems like a game where it's definitely of its time. It's definitely something that I would, think of people that would grow up playing it as like, yeah, violence, stuff like that after school, like rawness, Mountain Dew type energy. But here I am gaining a feel of that, and I guess I understand. I look at this like a sense of history, like, okay, well, this explains it, the community within it, and also like what the game is, and that, not that it's a bad thing, it's just that, I'm learning. And a lot of times when I play these games, that's what I'm doing. I'm basically getting a good history lesson of a lot of these games. So here we are for number 8 for another game that I kind of just want to learn a little bit more of the history, but not that necessarily. I don't know why I say that. For those that don't know, I want to put a DS game in this one. But ever since I got my Ambernick handheld, I actually wanted to play a game. And believe it or not, one of the games that I play there mostly is DS games. I play a bunch of DS games, GBA games, some arcade games here and there. I have a lot in my they stuff a lot in that freaking little Ambernick RG, system. And pretty much ever since I got my own handheld that I wanted because I always been playing on my PSP hack, I kind of just really want to play something, and why not skate? Skate on the DS. For those that don't know, this is a spoiler of last top retro games that I played. Yeah, one of the top retro games that I played were, especially of 2023, was basically Skate Tree. I enjoy Skate Tree, one of the PS3 treasures right there. And I played that and it just felt the same every time I come back to it. It's one of my favorites. It's always will be. I love skateboarding games, and of course, Skate has to be up there somewhere. You know what I mean? It just had to be. It's freaking Skate or Skater XL or one of these skateboarding mechanic games, but on the go. I remember playing this a lot when I was in at the cruise. When I was going to Italy, I played a lot of Skate because I didn't have my laptop. So I was like, yeah, let me just play something on the system that I have, which is an Ambernick RG International. Let me go play some Skate games because I kind of really miss Skater XL. I miss playing Skate Tree, and I don't really have that because, well, I'm in a different country. Yeah, let me play some Skate on the DS, and I still enjoy it. It's just one of those games where, even though I don't really have a touchscreen and that's kind of a pain, I still enjoy the fact that I'm playing a skateboard simulator on the go. Just that alone just already beats it. Okay, it's not one of my favorite or best Ambernick handheld games that I played so far, but when it comes to DS games, listen, this is one of them. It's either Rayman, Princess Peach, in some random Digimon game, or Skate. Because it's a game where I don't freaking care what the story is. I don't care what's going on. What universe? You think I care about what's going on in San Bernardino? No, I just don't freaking. Who cares what's going on over there, okay? What I do care about is freaking grinding ledges, grinding rails, doing airs. That's it. Okay, probably listening to a podcast or two, probably wait for my food, and I turn it off. It's just a little quick grind, little quick shred in the pockets. That's what I wanted. And yeah, this delivers. Especially when you have controls and stuff like that and it's mobile. Come on, nothing beats that. Number 7. I have to put this in the list. What was my favorite GameCube game? Well, let me tell you, my second favorite, because there is another one that is my favorite, that was top. This one was in my second. And it's a game where, when I think about older games and during this time, I think about this game almost all the time, especially not knowing the name, especially forgetting about it all these years. It is Tak and the Power of Juju. Now, if you're old like me and pretty much discovered Nickelodeon from a young age, you might know what the series is. It was a Nickelodeon. It became a game series. I basically discovered it through the game series. Man, there was a time where, especially with Emperor's New Groove, there was a time where certain games that depict Mayan or Latin American culture was sort of like a big deal, And I kind of really enjoy the aspect, and I miss that. You don't see that a lot. But for this one, yeah, make it to a game, make it into some weird, jungle trees and the safari or something, and it is a masterpiece. It's the music of the game, it's the visual of the game, it's the time that when it was released. There are certain games that just felt timeless, and this one was a game that I grew up with. I remember going to Blockbuster and getting this game and pretty much witnessing it through the GameCube from even such a, toddler age. I was enamored with the platforming, with the music, with the jokes, with the collectibles. It's one of my favorite platformers at the time. I really did enjoy Tak and the Power of Juju from back then till now. And I still enjoyed it till this day. It's like one of those games where, I don't know, it felt timeless. The humor and just the character surrounding, and especially witnessing it now and understanding the story a bit really opens myself to liking the game even more. Especially the ending credits, the music, there's so many things about this game that really does bite every style. You just have like snowboard in this game. You got a little bit of XX Tricky here. You got a little bit of Super Mario 3D here. You know, Sunshine. You got a little bit of everything, pretty much. You got a little bit of stealth. You got a little bit of collectathon. You got a little bit of like gymnastics. You have a lot of things what this game really throws you at, and pretty much it delivers very well. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's pretty much a good platformer, I would say, a good 3D platformer in a crazy world that it's based in. I find myself really enjoying this game. Anyways, moving on to number 6, and this would be my top basically games that I played on my Anbernic, but also one of my basically the reason why I changed my character in the first place. I used to have like a human VTuber style character, and I got rid of that because it's kind of weird. I was like, why am I showing this? It just seems a little too close to me. Like, I want something that is cute and something that is kind of reminiscent of what I am, but also then I discovered this game and I discovered the little mascot that it had, and I'm like, that's gonna be my character. That's gonna be it. I'm talking about Pop Full Mail. On the Sega CD, there was a couple of games that I wanted to put in this list. And this was pretty much neck to neck with either Sonic CD or this. And Sonic CD was a good game. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't really grow up with it, even though Sonic was one of my first ever games that I have ever played in my life. Sonic CD was, I don't know really, I didn't have that much attachment to it compared to Pop Full Mail. And Pop Full Mail was a game, when I keep hearing about the Sega CD, I always just can't stop thinking about this particular platformer. I'm like, what is this game? And why is it so freaking hard? This game is merciful, but it's a good history lesson of just what those games were. Thank God for save states as I'm playing this right now. Because if I didn't have save states, this game would just be the worst of all time. But would that mean that I would still put it in the list? There's a part of me, yes, because I like a good challenge. I like a good platformer that really just doesn't apologize, that is just straight up savage. And let me tell you, the moments of me getting this game and pretty much just having to really challenge myself in a sense, especially no matter how many times you save state, it's still a challenge. It's one of the hardest 2D platformers that I've ever witnessed. Like, this game is just like, the characters, you get hit, like you get double hit. Like, when you get hit, like in Super Mario, you can actually go through enemies and stuff like that and you'll be okay. But once you get hit here, you get hit by a second time by literally a split second. And yeah, you get another damage, and pretty much that's it for you, right? That's just it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But as I played it more, I soon discovered, like, okay, I can see why this game is somewhat not talked about, but also somewhat of a hidden gem of its time. It's just, I don't know, it gave me like what is it, Shantae vibes in a sense, except that it's based in a different, country and origin of itself. And I don't know, I just seem to, I guess, like the characters. I like the mage, little shy individual. You can also have the greedy Nami type, which is the main character, Popful, which there's times where I can't stand her because she's like just so greedy. And also, you have this little creature, or these little creatures, these bats, that I honestly just can't stop looking at. And I can't stop relating to. They're so adorable. I just can't. I'm just like, yep, yeah, these are the ones. Because I always imagine myself as a bat, and I guess in a persona sense. But when I soon discovered Popful Mel and Gaw, which is the little bat creature, I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's that little creature. Look at him. Like I swear, my voice and just everything about me just sort of like would almost seem like Gaw in a sense. Like, I don't know what it is, it's just, like, I liked it so much where I'm like, I can't, there's just something about this game where I learn from it, where I can understand it, where it really opened my eyes to a lot of other 2D platformers. It opened my eyes to a lot of those aspects when it comes to those types of games. And it makes sense. So I'm like, you know what? Put it on the list. Congratulations. This game, Come on, it's the reason why I changed my avatar. Next up, number 5 is Kaya the Dark Lineage. Listen, I'm just not gonna put an intro or anything. The thing is that I kind of was expecting a bit more from this, but there was something about this game where I keep coming back. Maybe it's the character that I was attracted to. I was like, come on now. But also, it was definitely a game of its time. It's sort of like actiony in a sense from other games that I just realized, but also it takes me back to just how PS2 games were, and this is sort of a different path of me discovering this game because it's one of those gems where I never would witness it, but as I'm playing it. And actually, there is a lot of stuff to do in this game. A lot of different mini games here and there. You get your time's worth when playing Kaya in the Dark Lineage. It's definitely a jewel that I will never forget. Of from the ending, from the father issues of this this poor girl, and also the same with the brother. And I don't know what it is. There's this weird what's going on here? What's this sausage fest? This girl that she is literally the only like female in this world. I just realized I was like, man, this could go wrong in so many ways. I swear. But also, she's the toughest because she takes out everyone. So in some sense, I kind of felt that revolution through this game. I was like, yep, I just like you kind of have to be the toughest, and I like that. It would be different if she was like a damsel and pretty much just like Peach. Like, nah, forget that. You have to be tough in these like sausage streets. Like seriously, there's like no other female in this game. I don't know if there is. I didn't check, but yeah, she seems the only one, and seems like yeah, like from this game, from what I witnessed it's a twisted world. At least that's what it feels like. Man, there's so many aspects of this game where it's like, oh, it's getting crazy. But I appreciate these different attack. Like there is so many ideas for different attacks of your enemies, and I really enjoyed like some of the stealth of this game and the wackiness that it throws you into. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Kaya and the Dark Lineage. Something that is so different from Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. I don't think it really tried to copy those games. Maybe a little bit of Looney Tunes in a sense that I got it from, but when I played it, it's its own thing. It's its own timeline. It's something that people that grew up with this game, they would definitely have somewhat of a connection of just like how it was made. I don't know. Is there something about it that is nostalgic, and I really enjoy the world that it put me in. Also, you got a little snowboarding segment in there. You got a little shooting segment in there. You got a little, you have different mechanics, discoveries of what this game could throw you in, and I enjoyed all of it. Next up is number 4, and it's a Saturn game. And I never really finished a Saturn game until I finished one. Burning Rangers. That theme song. Burning Rangers. Like, I feel like this would be a game that I would grow up with of its time. Like, just the Power Rangers, like, facade that it gives. And what timeline it's based in. Such a 90s, freaking 80s game. Like, I just can't stop thinking, like, wow. Now, that's a Saturn game. Because when I think about Knights, yeah, that is definitely a game of its time that is so reminiscent of what embodies the Saturn in the first place. But with this one, it embodies it a bit more. There's characters, there's story, there's a sense of like humanity alongside with the characters. There's good music, and even though it's not perfect in its sense, to me, this is such a gem. This is such a perfect, the way it was created, even though it didn't have much, it was short enough for me to actually appreciate what the Sega Saturn has done. And I guess this game really delivered in that sense. It's the jewels, I think. It's the sound effects. Just all of it just reminds me of a time, But when this game came in and when, Knights came in, I just couldn't help but think the second Saturn, I really truly wish that I grew up with that game. And especially with games with the Sega Saturn emulator. Like a lot of games just didn't work. It was not easy to emulate that system. But this one did it well. So, and I got a good experience, and it was solid all through the story. There were so many parts where I'm like, what happened to this character? What happened to this? It was a good history lesson of what this game really is. And I heard there's a remake for it. I'm looking forward to that. And also, it's such a reminiscence of its time. It's so 90s. The music, the characters, the especially the later on story. I really want to see Burning Rangers continue. Like, where are they now? Like that's always something that's gonna be stuck in my head for the longest time. So yeah, I put it there, number 4 spot. Next up is number 3. Come on, this ain't a surprise. We gotta put a PSP game. Let's get into it. And GTA 6 is coming. But have you heard about? Oh, sorry. Okay, before we began, apparently I messed up the list real quick. Yeah, a GTA. What the heck, man? So yeah, GTA Chinatown Wars was supposed to be number 3. Apparently, it isn't. But that was one of my favorite games. Okay, I didn't mean to put. I didn't even change anything. So this retro playlist is it's going downhill. But let me just say this. GTA Chinatown Wars, and maybe I'll just edit this or something like that. I really don't want to edit. So I'm just showing you the number 3. But yeah, GTA Chinatown Wars, that was a good game. That was a good, from coming back, especially from coming back from GTA San Andreas, which I didn't count in the list because I played that game so many times and everyone knows it. And yeah, a lot of times I probably could have put in the list, but it's like, well, that would be almost like not even a surprise. But since you're here, Chinatown Wars, yeah, it's just one of the best kind of especially it showed me the mechanics of what the PSP can do, and also just finishing the story that I've been thinking about for the longest time because I did own this game from a young age. I'm like, okay, well, that's good to know. But still, did we get our revenge or anything like that? I can't tell you that. It would spoil it. But other than that, yeah. I mean, so far, if you ask me like what I like about the game, it would be the freaking drug trafficking mechanics that it gives you. But I'm not really into that. I kind of just play the game for what it is. The soundtrack is always a banger. GTA will always have the best soundtracks. And also the shooting mechanics and, just the challenges that you go through within the game. I love the top down of just like what it gives. I feel like this one does it best. And when it comes to any game that does that, especially trying to copy GTA 1, this one does it better. I feel like this is the best one to actually sort of really know what the GTA would be if it was basically on, any kind of system that is a handheld, especially the PSP. Okay, for number 2, it has to go to basically one of the best GameCube games that I witnessed. I mean, I know that this game was released in other systems, but it has to go to Beyond and Good Evil. For a game like this, no matter if you remake it, because the thing is that the reason why I played Beyond and Good Evil, specifically the original GameCube one, is because there's this whole talk about, and also the remastered, the 10-year anniversary remastered or something like that was released. I think it was 10 or 20 years, I don't know. But yeah, oh yeah, that's right, 20 years. Because this game, I remember seeing it during the Game Tap days. And here I am witnessing it right now, and I finished it. I have a lot of questions, but probably those questions would basically spoil the story. Other than that, I get why this game needed to continue. There is part of me where it's like, yeah, that makes sense. For a game like this, 100% would definitely be one of the best gems that I witness, or not really gems. The thing is that this game had a community, and there's a reason why that community existed. When you play this game, it makes sense. And definitely it's a game of its time. It's like, just remembering all the old school tracks or fashion during the time when this game was released. And you kind of see a bit of that through Beyond and Good Evil. This was during just a time when Ubisoft was definitely at their prime, the renaissance of Ubisoft games. And they made something big here. And for this one, I always keep hearing about it. I can almost picture the universe and also the aesthetic from just hearing Beyond and Good Evil. I kind of just know a bit of history, especially first seeing it when, GameTap was around before it died. And now, witnessing it now, yeah, it felt like this is such a good space game that is very, with the animals and everything like that. There's a part of me where it doesn't take itself seriously. It's just how a game is supposed to be with its mechanics of just stealth and collecting and also attacking enemies and helping one each other, especially rescuing Paige in a sense, and also you see a bit of more of the other characters. But also, there's this connection of what this game has that I haven't seen anywhere else, and especially the beginning was it hit hard. The intro hit hard for a game like this. This definitely would be my one of my favorites just by the aesthetics alone, but also with the gameplay of its time. No matter what you can do to actually remake or remaster of what the game gives, it's still gonna be something of its time. It definitely show its age when it was released. So this is just a amazing play, an amazing time, and especially out of all of these years, I have finally witnessed and also finished Beyond and Good Evil. And pretty much I can understand why that trailer 2 brought a lot of controversy of just like especially how like they just decided not to freaking develop the game anymore. Like where's that? Because there was a Beyond and Good Evil 2 trailer out there that was like a few years old or something, like, and that's just gone. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, but definitely deserved it because the story itself is something that I'm just so curious of. So much goodness in this game that brings. And also I will say this, I feel like I forget the characters, but the main character that you see here, and especially the other character, the big guy, come on, those two definitely would be amazing couple. Like I shipped them. Okay? Even though shipping wasn't a thing when this game was released, but you know what I mean. Anyways. And now for the number 1. And this one was basically just not that hard. And believe it or not, it's not a skateboarding game. I know that was a thing of last year's list, a bunch of skateboarding games. I'm on the top 10s here. No, this one's different. I guarantee you. And it's not skate related, okay? If it was, it would be like Skate on the DS that I talked about earlier. But no. We gotta take it back to one of the gems. A game that I loved, but also my dad loved. This game basically, and the series itself runs in the family. Like my family loves Ratchet and Clank. So why not put Ratchet and Clank in there? Ha! Up your arsenal? Get out of here. I remember me and my dad would just try to level up our character and get all the weapons during the arenas and during all the race levels. When I was playing those levels, ooh, man, that hit me. You know what hit me hard? I never thought a game like this would make me tear up. When actually playing the mechanics, like literally firsthand. Like when the story began and I started shooting and started clash and getting health and also basically hitting boxes. Oh, it hit me. It hit me. I was like, oh man. Oh, where have you been? Where have you been all my life? Like listen, Ratchet and Clank is just it's not fair how much I love this series. I love Ratchet and Clank. I played all of them, or maybe I would if I had a PS5. I'm still that time will come. Okay, that time will come, and I'm gonna try to play every single Ratchet and Clank game. I don't know how, but I'm gonna try. I'm really gonna try. I hope there's a way for me to do it, especially not really, cracking down my freaking pockets here. But at the same time, Ratchet and Clank, believably top tier. One of the best experience that I have ever had. I literally spent almost like hours in the freaking sewage level. It was disgusting, by the way. But man, if it's Ratchet and Clank, I don't care what it is. Okay, it could be a freaking level of you running a store or something, or running a farm, or basically just you. Like it could be a game of Ratchet and Clank. In the mechanic is you paying taxes. Give it to me. I don't care if it's Ratchet and Clank. It is okay with me. It is all good with me because let me tell you, one of the best gaming mascots ever. Okay. Like at least for me, especially during the PlayStation 2 days, this was a time where gaming was more serious than I have ever realized. And that was all thanks to Ratchet and Clank, Sly Tree, sure, and also Jak and Daxter in many of these games, Metal Gear and stuff like that. Man, nothing beats Ratchet and Clank. Are you kidding me? Like this This is just not fair how good this game is. It is so good. I don't care about like the story, it's the mechanics. It is so butter. It is so butter. The freaking killing, the clashing, the weapons that you have, the jumping around, like I don't know what it is. And I literally got off of Size Matters when I was finishing that game, and it wasn't really the best Ratchet and Clank game. But even though if it wasn't the best, it's still Ratchet and Clank, which makes it freaking top 10 easily. But still, for this one, oh man, forget about it. Forget about it. Like all these other PS2 Ratchet and Clank games, they deserve to be high up there in the freaking space. Like this game will go down in history as one of my favorites. And I guarantee you, my family's favorite. My mom loves it, my dad loves it, and I love it. It just runs in the family. It runs in the family. Anyways, that right there is my top 10 retro games that I have played of 2024. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you subscribe, like, comment, and jazz. I'll see you when I see you. One love to the peace, and God bless.